He's a bad guy. He's a sick man. There's something wrong with him, actually. I think Jack Smith is a sick man. There's something really wrong with him. I'd rather see him testify publicly because there's no way he can answer the questions. But Biden knew this was going along. Kamala knew it was going along. And there's a lot of things happening right now that they don't like. One of the things is the auto pen. Everything he signed, almost, with the exception.
Hello, Patriots, and welcome back to Harlan Reports. I am your host, Harlan. And I am so honored you are joining me right now. We have breaking news that changes absolutely everything. I need you to stop what you are doing and listen, because history is being made this very second.
We should know. Number one, I think it was Judge Boasberg was the judge who signed off on all this stuff. He needs to lose his seat as a judge.
Right.
That needs to go. Number two, they need to be called into Congress. But the third part is, because Congress will happen, we'll do that stuff. The Department of Justice is really going to have to go through this. And if there were criminal violations, they have to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. This is worse than Watergate. As much as everybody wants to talk about Watergate and everything around Richard Nixon, this is significantly worse because while they were using the judicial system to go after their political rival, they were also in the background protecting Joe Biden from the American people with the auto pen investigation and then silencing the American people through social media, strong-arming media companies to silence the voices of Americans. This is the most corrupt presidential administration, the Biden administration, in the history of our country. Heads need to roll.
Folks, grab your coffee, sit down, and hold on tight because right now on this historic day, December 30th, 2025, President Donald J. Trump is striking back hard. And it is about time. This is the moment we have all been waiting for. The fighter we love, the leader who never backs down, has just announced he is taking bold legal action. He is suing special counsel Jack Smith and Judge James Boasberg for their roles in what President Trump rightly calls the January 6th hoax. And let me tell you, he is not just asking for justice. He is demanding real accountability. He is asking for massive damages. And yes, he is making it very clear that those who broke the law by spying on Americans could face serious consequences, including prison time. When I saw this news cross my desk just minutes ago, I had to take a deep breath. I felt tears prick my eyes. Not tears of sadness, but tears of pure relief. For so long, we have watched good people get hurt. We have watched our president get attacked from every single side. They came after his business, his family, and his freedom. But today, the sun is shining a little brighter over the White House. This isn't some small claim. This is President Trump going on the offensive big league to expose the illegal spying, the weaponized government, and the deep state tricks that tried to destroy him. But more importantly, they tried to destroy you. They tried to silence millions of patriotic Americans who believe in our great country. As someone who has been in this news game for over 3 decades, watching administrations come and go, I have never seen a more courageous stand for truth and fairness. It feels like a heavy weight is finally being lifted off our shoulders. We held the line, we kept the faith, and now, our champion is taking the fight directly to the people who tried to steal our voice. The lawsuit alleges that under the guise of an investigation, these officials crossed lines that should never be crossed in America. They didn't just look for crimes, they went hunting for a man. They targeted the GOP, they targeted the very heart of our democracy while claiming to save it. And now, President Trump is standing tall in the Oval Office, holding the paperwork that says no more. I know many of you at home are probably hugging your loved ones right now, feeling that same surge of hope I am feeling. It's real, it's happening. And we are just getting started.
I told him with Trump, let it go. What you trying to put him in jail for? They did everything they could to prevent him from being the president. Trump ain't going after these people, man, because of the election. He going after these people because they tried to get him to spend the rest of his life in fucking prison. He approaching 80 years old and you tried to throw him behind bars. He coming. He coming. Like, wait a minute. You motherfuckers smile in my face. You come into my casinos. You come into the hotel. Y'all all know we all sports fans. We saw Trump at all sporting events. We were all cool with him. We weren't calling him racist then. So it's like he looking at it and he going like, yo, these motherfuckers trying to put me in prison. They ain't trying to get me like, okay, January 6th, insurrection, all of that. Fine. All right, I leave. Y'all, y'all confirm Biden gonna be your president. I'm out. And you still coming for me. You trying to throw me in prison. The charges in New York. And what was the charge in New York? Oh, let's remind ourselves of this. 34 felony counts and all of this shit. It came down to $130,000 that he spent in hush money to a prostitute, a porn star, the porn star, Stormy Daniels or whatever her name is. So I'm going like this. Yeah, it's a little more complicated than that, but we simplify shit in the streets. All right. So he was fucking around with a porn star, and he wanted to keep her mouth shut, so it didn't ruin his chances at the election in 2016. And y'all trying to tell me that ain't normal? Seriously? So none of y'all. I guess John Edwards, when he had the baby out of wedlock and he tried to hide it and get caught, he didn't try to bail. I guess Gary Hart, when he had the mistress on the boat in the 80s, he didn't get caught.
The chair in Chicago.
There you go. What about Clinton in the Oval Office? Clinton in the Oval Office.
Wiener.
Who the hell was volunteer? Wiener.
Let's really dig into why this lawsuit is making the ground shake in Washington, D.C. right now. We need to talk about what exactly happened, because when you hear the details, it doesn't just make you angry, it breaks your heart. We are learning that Jack Smith and his team didn't just play dirty, they played a game that goes against everything America stands for. We are talking about secret spying. We are talking about them getting their hands on the private phone records of Republican members of Congress and staff members who were just doing their jobs. Imagine for a second that you are at home, minding your own business, raising your family, and loving your country. Then you find out that powerful people in the government were secretly looking through your private life. Just because you support Donald Trump, it sends a shiver down your spine, doesn't it? That is exactly what President Trump is exposing. Today, he is shining a bright light on what he calls Operation Arctic Frost. It sounds like something out of a spy movie, but sadly, for the past few years, this was real life for the people in Trump's orbit. They used these records to build a story, a fake story, about January 6th. They tried to paint a picture of an insurrection, to scare us and to keep President Trump out of the White House. But we know the truth. We know that day was about Americans wanting fair elections. We know that President Trump said, "Go home in peace." He didn't want violence. He wanted our voices to be heard. But instead of listening to us, the old regime decided to spy on us. They twisted the law to try and lock up an innocent man. It brings tears to my eyes to think about the pressure President Trump has been under. Most men would have crumbled. Most men would have given up and walked away to protect their own peace of mind, but not him. He took the arrows for us. He stood in the line of fire every single day, facing lies and investigations that would crush a normal person. He did it because he knew that if they could do this to a billionaire president, they could do it to a truck driver in Ohio or a teacher in Florida. This lawsuit is his way of standing in front of us and saying, "You will not touch my people anymore." That kind of love for this country is something we haven't seen in a long, long time.
Jim Jordan has asked Jack Smith to appear in front of the House Judiciary.
You mean deranged, Jack? He's a deranged individual, yeah?
He has asked him to...
Well, they should. I'm surprised it takes so long. You know, we're talking about violent crime. What about the crime against a political opponent? That's what we have to talk about,
Jordan would
too.
like to understand the full extent to which the Biden-Harris Justice Department weaponized federal law enforcement. What do you think the committee will find out, Mr. Smith?
I think it was the worst weaponization of a political opponent in the history of the world, let alone this country. And I hope that everybody's, you know, they're involved in it. I'm not. I'm the one that had to suffer through it and ultimately win. But what they did was criminal. Deranged Jack Smith, in my opinion, is a criminal. And I noticed his interviewer was, I think that was Weissman. And I hope they're going to look into Weissman, too. Weissman's a bad guy.
You know, when I sit here and think about what this lawsuit really means, I get a lump in my throat. It's not just about lawyers and courtrooms. It's about trust. For years, we were told we were crazy for thinking the deck was stacked against us. We were told to sit down and be quiet when we asked questions about fairness. They called us conspiracy theorists. They called us names that hurt. Names that made us afraid to put a yard sign out or wear a red hat to the grocery store. But today, President Trump is proving that we were right all along. And that feeling, being vindicated, it's powerful. It makes you want to cry because you realize you weren't crazy. You were just paying attention. This lawsuit against Jack Smith and Judge Boasberg is ripping the mask off the whole operation. It shows that while we were working hard, paying our taxes, and trying to be good neighbors, there were people in dark rooms in Washington, D.C., plotting against the man we voted for. Think about the betrayal of that. These are people whose salaries we pay. They are supposed to protect the Constitution. Instead, they use the power of the government like a weapon to hunt down Republicans. They didn't care about the law, they cared about power. They wanted to make sure that the America First movement died. They wanted to make sure that your voice didn't matter. But here's the beautiful part, the part that makes my heart swell with pride. They failed. They threw everything they had at Donald Trump. They raided his home. They took his mugshot. They tried to bankrupt him. And what happened? He didn't run away. He stood there like a rock in a storm, and he took every single hit. Why? Because he knew that if he fell, we fell. He knew he was the only thing standing between us and a government that had totally lost its way. And now, he is turning that ship around. He is saying, you came for me, but now I am coming for justice. This lawsuit is his way of telling every single one of us, I heard you. I saw what they did to you, and I am going to fix it. That is a leader, that is a hero, and that is why we will never, ever turn our backs on him.
We should immediately call Judge Boasberg in front of us. He's the one who signed these subpoenas against me and the other 9 Republicans that were subpoenaed. Our phone records were subpoenaed. And you know, Mike, we don't know what else they got. Did they get banking records? Did they do opposition-style research on us? And exactly what were they doing? We also need to call the CEOs of these wireless companies in front of us. Verizon rolled over and complied. AT&T fought back. AT&T did not release records. But you know, the fact that Judge Boasberg would have put a non-disclosure order on top of the subpoena and said, well, I fear that these senators may destroy evidence or tamper with evidence, or they may intimidate witnesses. You know, to insinuate such is, of course, something that is a violation. And it is our First and Fourth Amendment rights, and the separation of powers, and the speech and debate clause, and of course the Stored Communications Act that have been violated. And of course we know there were organizations that they went after the banking records of those organizations. So this is deep and wide. It is far deeper and wider than Watergate. It is far more intrusive and invasive. 197 subpoenas are what we know so far, and 430 individuals that they were going after, individuals and organizations. So we do need to get going on this. We need to do it sooner rather than later.
Think about the nights you laid awake worrying about the direction of this country. You know the feeling I am talking about? That pit in your stomach, worrying that the bad guys were winning? That feeling of helplessness. It is the worst feeling in the world. You look at your children or your grandchildren sleeping safely in their beds, and you wonder if they will grow up in a free country, or in a country where they have to whisper their beliefs just to be safe. It is a terrifying thought for any parent or grandparent. This lawsuit today is the sunlight finally breaking through those dark, heavy clouds. When President Trump filed these papers, he didn't just sign a legal document. He signed a promise to every single one of us. A promise that he will hunt down the corruption that has been rotting our capital from the inside out. He is calling out the January 6th hoax for exactly what it was. A trap. A trap set by people who were supposed to serve us, but instead decided they wanted to rule over us. They used tools meant for catching terrorists and used them against patriotic Americans. They treated a peaceful political movement, our movement, like it was an enemy army. And why did they do it? Because they were terrified. They were terrified that the American people were waking up. They were terrified that you loved Donald Trump, and even more terrified because he loved you back. And that is the core of it, isn't it? Love. It sounds strange to talk about love in politics, but that is what this is really about. President Trump loves this country so much that he put his own freedom at risk to save it. He faced the threat of hundreds of years in prison on fake charges, but he didn't flinch. He didn't blink. And now, he is turning the tables and saying, no, you are the ones who belong in prison. Hearing that, honestly, it brings tears to your eyes. Finally, someone is fighting back. Finally, the bully is getting punched in the nose. It makes you want to stand up and cheer. It makes you want to fall to your knees and thank God that we have a leader who is as tough as nails and has a heart of gold. We are watching history, folks. We are watching the good guys start to win again.
Jack Smith, we just found out that he had some of your key allies under surveillance, wiretapping, finding their phone records, everybody from Tommy Tuberville, Lindsey Graham, Bill Hagerty, senator from Tennessee.
Yeah.
Did you hear about this? I did not know. Nobody had any idea.
A little while ago, I did. He was a sleazebag, Jack Smith. He was a bad guy, terrible guy, always went too far. He was a violent, horrible prosecutor, and he's paying the price. I tell you what, people, what he did to the lives of so many people, and he tried on me. This guy was a bad guy. And, the reason he lost is because he went too far. When you go too far, sometimes you get away with it, but they didn't get away with it here. Jack Smith was a sick person.
I was talking to a grandmother from Wisconsin just the other day. She grabbed my hand, looking me right in the eye, and she said, "Harlan, I just want my grandkids to grow up in a country where the police are the good guys again." That hit me hard. It broke my heart, honestly, because for the last few years, we have seen the highest levels of our justice system turned against the very people they are supposed to protect. We saw the FBI used like a political weapon. We saw innocent people treated like criminals just for praying outside a clinic or attending a school board meeting. It made us scared. It made us look over our shoulders. It made us wonder if the America we grew up in was gone forever. That is a heavy burden to carry. It wears you down. It makes you lose sleep. It makes you feel alone. But today, that burden is lighter. Today, President Trump is looking that corruption dead in the eye and saying, "You are finished." When he filed this lawsuit against Jack Smith and Judge Boasberg, he wasn't just filing paperwork. He was fighting for that grandmother in Wisconsin. He was fighting for the dad, working 2 jobs, who is afraid to put a bumper sticker on his truck. He was fighting for every single one of you who felt like the government had turned its back on you. This isn't just about clearing his name. It is about clearing the air for all of us. It is about restoring the soul of this nation. I want you to really let that sink in. The President of the United States, the most powerful man in the world, is using his power to protect you. He is taking the hits so you don't have to. He is walking through the fire so your children can be safe. That is what a real father figure does. That is what a real leader does. And seeing him stand up today, after everything they put him through, after all the lies and the smears, it just makes you weep with gratitude. We are witnessing the return of justice. We are witnessing the return of hope. And let me tell you, it is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. The dark days are ending, my friends. The dawn is finally here. Let's take a step back and think about the courage this takes. Imagine being in President Trump's shoes for just 1 minute. Every day you wake up, half the media is screaming lies about you. Every time you turn around, someone in power is trying to take everything you built. It's exhausting just to think about. But he doesn't just endure it, he fights back. And he does it with a smile, with a thumbs up, and with that iconic dance we all love. Why? Because his strength comes from something bigger than himself. It comes from his love for this land. It comes from the prayers of millions of you who kneel by your bedsides every night. He knows he is not alone. He knows that when he walks into that courtroom, or sends his lawyers to do it, he has an army of patriots standing right behind him in spirit. This lawsuit against Jack Smith isn't about revenge. It's about restoration. It's about putting the pieces of our broken justice system back together. For too long, we have watched a 2-tiered system, where some people get a free pass and others get the book thrown at them. We saw riots in the summer of 2020, where cities burned and nothing happened. But if you walked through the Capitol with a flag, your life was ruined. President Trump is saying no more. He is demanding equal justice under the law. He is demanding that the people who abuse their power to spy on his campaign and his allies answer for their crimes. And let me tell you, when the full truth comes out, and it will come out, it is going to shock the world. But for us, for the people who have been paying attention, it will be the sweetest moment of validation we have ever known. It will be the moment we can look our children in the eye and say, "We told you the good guys would win." And that, my friends, is worth every single tear we have shed along the way. I want you to close your eyes for a second and picture the Capitol. Not the chaotic scenes the media replays on a loop to scare you, but the real Capitol, the people's house. It belongs to us. It belongs to the mechanic in Michigan and the nurse in Arizona. And for the last few years, we have been told we weren't welcome there. We were told our questions were dangerous. We were told our love for this country was a threat. But President Trump, he never saw us that way. He saw us as the heart and soul of this nation. And that is why this lawsuit matters so much. By suing Jack Smith and Judge Boasberg, He is effectively handing the keys to the people's house back to the people. He is saying that no prosecutor, no judge, no bureaucrat has the right to spy on the citizens they work for. It is a declaration of independence from the deep state. And think about the timing. We are heading into a new year, 2026, a year that could have been filled with more fear and more division. But instead, because of this one bold move, we are walking into the future with our heads held high. The president is clearing the path. He is removing the landmines they planted to stop our movement. He is doing the heavy lifting so we can finally breathe free again. I got a message from a veteran named Tom just a few minutes ago. He served in the Marines. He told me, "Harlan, I fought for freedom overseas, but I felt like I lost it here at home. Today, for the first time in years, I feel like my service meant something again." Hearing that, it just tears you apart in the best way possible. It reminds you that freedom isn't free, but it is worth fighting for. And having a commander-in-chief who fights just as hard as our soldiers do, that is a blessing we should never take for granted. We are watching a restoration of honor, folks. We are watching America become America again. I have been sitting here, reading some of the messages pouring in from all over the country. And I have to be honest with you, I am having a hard time keeping it together. There is a message here from a young mother in Georgia named Sarah. She wrote, "Harlan, I was afraid to fly my American flag. I was afraid to teach my kids to be proud of our history, but watching President Trump fight back today, it gave me my courage back. I just went outside and put my flag up on the porch." Folks, that is what this is all about. It is not just legal paperwork. It is about Sarah in Georgia getting her courage back. It is about millions of you realizing that you don't have to be afraid anymore. When President Trump filed this lawsuit against Jack Smith and Judge Boasberg, he sent a signal to the whole world that the American spirit is alive and well. He showed us that no matter how dark it gets, the light will always win if you just keep fighting. Think about what they did to him. They took his mugshot, they tried to take his businesses, they raided his home while his family was away. Any other person would have been destroyed. They would have hidden away in shame. But Donald Trump took that mugshot and turned it into a symbol of defiance. He took those attacks and turned them into armor. And now, he is using that armor to shield us. He is doing this because he knows that the America we love was slipping away. He saw the two-tiered justice system eating away at our freedom like a cancer. And instead of just complaining about it, he is cutting it out. He is demanding damages not because he needs the money, but because he needs to show them that there is a price to pay for hurting the American people. I look at the monitor here in the studio, and I see the image of our president. He looks serious. He looks determined. But most of all, he looks like a father protecting his children. That is what he is to this movement. He is the protector of the forgotten men and women. And knowing that he is back in charge, knowing that he is going on the offensive to clear his name and ours, it gives you a peace that passes all understanding. We are safe again, friends. We are finally safe. We have walked a long, hard road together, haven't we? I sit here and I look into the lens of this camera, and I feel like I am looking into the eyes of family. We have been through the valley of the shadow. We watched as they tried to tear down our monuments, rewrite our history, and tell us that loving America was something to be ashamed of. There were days, dark days, when I know many of you wondered if the sun would ever rise on a free America again. I wondered it too. But that is what makes this moment so overwhelming. That is why the tears just won't stop coming today. Because we didn't just survive, we won. And this lawsuit against Jack Smith and Judge Boasberg is the final seal on that victory. It is President Trump standing on the mountaintop and planting the flag of freedom right back where it belongs. I want you to think about the rallies. Think about the cold wind, the rain, the long lines. I remember seeing you there. I remember seeing fathers holding their daughters on their shoulders, wearing those red hats, smiling even though the media called them terrible names. You stood there because you believed. You believed in a man who promised he would never let you down. And today, with this historic legal action, he is keeping that promise in a way that is bigger than any of us could have imagined. He isn't just suing for damages, he is suing to give you your dignity back. He is telling the world that the people who stood in those lines, the people who voted for America first, are the true patriots. The shame is gone. The fear is gone. All that is left is pride, pure American pride. It makes my heart swell to think about what this means for the future. It means that when your grandkids read about this time in their history books, they won't read about how we gave up. They will read about how we stood tall. They will read about a president who faced the fires of hell and walked out without even the smell of smoke on him. They will read about you. You are the heroes of this story just as much as he is. And knowing that, we saved this country together. It is the greatest feeling in the world. Hold on to that feeling, folks. The best is truly yet to come. As we come to the end of this broadcast, I want you to take a deep breath with me. Do you feel that? That is the air of a free country filling your lungs again. For so long, we held our breath, waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for the next attack. But today, December 30th, 2025, we can finally exhale. President Trump has drawn a line in the sand with this lawsuit, and he has declared that the season of witch hunts is over. I know many of you have been crying right along with me today, and that is okay. Tears cleanse the soul. We are crying because we care so deeply. We are crying because we came so close to losing everything, and now, we have been pulled back from the edge by a leader who refused to let us fall. This isn't just about politics anymore. It is about love. It is about the love a president has for his people, and the love we have for this beautiful, broken, and now healing land. I want you to look at your children tonight. Really look at them. Because of what happened today, because of the stand President Trump is taking, their future looks a whole lot brighter. They are going to grow up in an America where truth matters. They are going to grow up in a country where the government works for them, not against them. That is the legacy we are building right now. That is the gift we are giving them. We have won a great victory today, but the work isn't done. We have to keep praying. We have to keep supporting our president as he fights these battles for us. He is strong, but he needs our strength too. He needs to know that we are right there with him. Marching forward into this new golden age, we are a family, you and I. We are the American family, and nothing, absolutely nothing, can break us when we stand together. So, dry those eyes, patriots. Stand up tall, put your shoulders back, you are on the winning side. The truth is out. The bad guys are running scared, and the good guys, well, we are just getting started. This is Harlan, signing off for now, but never backing down. If this message touched your heart, if you felt the power of this historic day, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, and give this video a like. Share it with everyone you know. We need to spread the truth faster than they can spread their lies. Join the Harlan Reports family, and let's keep fighting for America every single day. God bless you, and God bless President Trump.